Hey folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for York Region, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham for week ending April 13th, 2022. Prices are falling. They are, and we're going to talk about more about that once we get into the numbers. First, let me tell you about a situation we're experiencing right now. I just find it so extremely interesting, and we experience this from time to time, and I want to share it with you. We're working with two sellers. We're in the process of getting their home ready for sale, so they're not on the market yet, but we're headed that direction. Both very, very similar situations. So they're both in the current market that we're in. They're both gonna be selling in this current market. Both have a similar valued type home. Both homes are valued at about $2.5 million. Both these sellers have owned their homes for close to eight or 9 years. So very, very similar situations. What's extremely different is their attitudes. I've had conversations with both about the current market. Both understand that if they would have sold, say, 2 months ago, they probably could have got $200,000 more for their house. So both know that they're selling about $200,000 less than what they would have sold just 2 months ago. Well, seller A is more of a seasoned investor, has some rental properties, has some other properties that he's purchased along the way. Both are also moving to their dream home. So seller A, the seasoned investor, his attitude is, what a phenomenal market. So excited about the $2.5 million that he's probably going to get for their home, and giving no thought to prices have come down. Prices are a little bit softer than what they were 2 months ago. He's just so excited overall, the amount of appreciation that he's got in his house over the last several years. That's seller A, seasoned investor, motivated and excited about the sale price. Seller B is not a seasoned investor and is more of the person who has bought and sold in the past, but each time to go into their principal residence, then to go into their principal residence, and has only really owned the property that he's lived in. This person, seller B, is not motivated about the sale price and is kind of panicked and frustrated that he's losing out on about $200,000 that maybe if he would have sold 2 months ago would have got. And it's fascinating that they're in the same situation. Seller A is looking at the bigger picture of, wow, I bought for and both are probably going to gain about $1 million on the sale of their house versus what they bought it at and what it's going to sell at. Seller A, that's what he's focused on. How much appreciation? Seller B is worried about the $200,000, not so much the $1 million gain. So I find that fascinating, and I know a bunch of you that are either on the market or thinking about being on the market, these thoughts are going through your head also. My attitude is the bigger picture, and if any of you have owned your properties for any length of time, several years, even though the market's softer now, you're probably doing pretty good. And if you're buying in the same market, well, what you're buying is going to be a little bit less than what it was just a few months ago. So it's not so doom and gloom like, sometimes the headlines say out there. And if you're looking to sell and looking to buy, as always, you want to maximize those situations and take advantage of every possible opportunity. Who you hire matters. Work with the right people that are going to help you to hit your goals. If you feel this video can help anybody you know, please pass it along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me directly about your real estate situation, buying, selling, just have real estate questions, it's really simple. In the description below this video, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's good for you. This way I'll know ahead of time and I'll organize my schedule so we can talk about whatever's on your mind. So let's get looking into the numbers. I'm going to be talking about Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham detached properties. I'm starting with Vaughan here. What's happening with these numbers? Which way is the market going? Well, it's kind of tricky predicting forward, but I can tell you what's happening right now. Sales we sold 46 detached properties in Vaughan last week. 21 of those were at $2 million or more, compared to the previous week where 9 were at $2 million or more. You can, 9, 21 properties, 2 million. You're going to see that average sold price has shot way up. We're now at from 1,786. We're now at 2,070,000 for the average sold price. So it's gone up. But when we look at overall, if we look at where we were here, kind of mid-February, the high average sold price has been trending down. And when you look in your neighborhoods, you're seeing properties on the market a little bit longer. You're seeing prices a little bit softer. Not in all and not in every neighborhood, but quite a few. You're seeing it more and more. I know with some of the buyers we've been working with, we've been able to take advantage of situations that we couldn't just 2 months ago. And with some of our sellers, we've had to really understand what's happening with price. So this way, when we kind of in the listing presentation tell them this is probably where it's going to sell for, we have to really analyze so we make sure we're accurate and sellers have the right expectation and know. And this way they can make a decision if selling now makes sense to them or not. Well, if we compare to last year, average sold price is still, for this 1 week, 26% higher than what it was a year ago. Now, if we look at if we just go back a couple months, the gap between this year's average sold price and last year's average sold price is much higher. We're at 35%, 28%, 28%. And although this 1 week we're at 26%, generally it's come down to 16%, 17%, 12%. This 1 week, it's a bit higher. But normally the gap has been getting shorter or tighter. But last year's average sold price was phenomenal compared to the year before. So the fact that the gap is short or smaller and the percentage of increase year over year has been getting smaller, well, we're comparing it to already record prices that were set last year. So it's not so bad. Looking at, so the average sold price is 26% higher. Median price, these are the current, this year's median price, is 19% higher than what it was last year. So 19% higher median price is phenomenal. And when you look at the median price also from the peak, you could see it coming down over the last 2 months. Of the 46 that sold, 65% sold at list price or more. We used to be selling 80 or so percent, 91% at list price or more. Very intense. Right now we're sitting at 65% selling at list price or more. So it's a different market. Year-to-date sales, if I look at January 1st to April 13th this year versus last year, well, we're selling 27% less properties this year than what we sold last year, which was a record-breaking year. Looking at listings, we're 14% less listings this year than what we listed last year, year-to-date. Now, listings tells us one story. We listed 104 last week, which is down from the previous couple of weeks. But active listings is pretty similar for the last 2 weeks. We have 218 active listings. These are properties at midnight, April 23rd, that are available for sale, that are actually on the market. And months of inventory came down slightly, but still sitting at, basically, it's over 1. It's at 1.1 months of inventory. Now, what's interesting is that months of inventory sitting at 1.1 and days on market is 8. And when months of inventory was half of that at 0.5, we had days on market of 10, for example, and 12 over here. Well, that's because when months of inventory is so low, sellers are so aggressive and prices are aggressive, and sellers have tons of people coming in for showings and they're expecting offers. Sellers are choosing not to sell right away. So they'll hold back offers, which kind of artificially pushes up the days on market. That home could have sold on day 2, but it didn't because the sellers chose not to and wanted to wait for offer night, which was 10 days later, for example. But in this kind of market, waiting sometimes is not the answer, and take the good offer when it comes, and showings are not as numerous as they were before, and we see lots of offer nights not working and people switching to, or sellers switching to more traditional pricing and that will kind of bring the days on market a little bit higher there. So here we go, 8 days on market. Let's look at Richmond Hill. We sold 26 detached properties in Richmond Hill. 8 of them were at $2 million or more. So 26 properties in all of Richmond Hill. Nobody's buying in Richmond Hill. What's going on? Only 26 were sold. Average sold price has come way down from the previous week. It's now at $1,880,000. Still high, but it's way down from where we were before at around 2.2 million. And since the middle of February, it's been steadily overall coming down. So it's now at 1,880,000, which is 7% higher than what it was a year ago. But the 7% is based on a year ago was already a record price. And the gap between last year and this year has been getting shorter and shorter as we move through this year. So average sold price is 7% higher than last year. Median price is 17% higher than what it was a year ago. Looking at sales, the blue, those are last year's sales. The orange is this year. I mean, big difference between what we were doing last year and this year. And when we look at year-to-date sales, we're 27% less sales this year than last year. Of the 26 that sold, 69% sold at list price or more. Last year at this time, 71% were selling at list price or more. Listings, year to date, we have 14% less listings this year. And listings are down. We listed the previous week, we listed 87. This week we listed 66. Active listings is down slightly to 222 active listings, and months of inventory is sitting at 2. 2 months of inventory. So at the current rate that we're buying, with the amount of properties available for sale, active listings, we're going to be sold out of everything in 2 months. So it's still a relatively tight market, but not as tight as 0.6, 0.7 months of inventory. We're sitting at 2 months of inventory. It's almost like it's a different world from what it was 2 months ago. Let's look at Markham. 31 detached properties sold in Markham, which is what happened last week, also 31. And last week I said, that's it, only 31. And I'm saying it again this week, like these sales are so low, only 31 sold detached properties across all Markham. 8 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price came down slightly from the previous week. Now it's sitting at $1,836,000. And again, you see the trend. We're up here at, the record was $2,290,000. It's been trending down quite a bit. As fast as it went up, it's coming down. Compared to last year, we're still 10% higher than where we were last year at this time. And again, you look at the gap between this year's price versus last year, the gap is getting shorter. But keep in mind, last year's price was a record price already. So we're still doing better than last year's record price. Looking at, okay, so the average sold price we said is 10% higher than what it was a year ago. Median price is 13% higher than what it was a year ago. And median price is also trending down. Sales of the 31 that sold, 65% sold at list price or more. This time last year, 75% were selling at list price or more. But look at the year-to-date sales. This is like, to me, this is just, wow. We are selling in Markham, just Markham for detached properties, 41% less sales this year, 41% than what we were selling year-to-date last year this time. 41% is a big number. Listings are down year-to-date 18%. We listed 108 last week. Active listings went up a little bit to 254, and months of inventory has climbed up a little bit. It's now sitting at 1.9 months of inventory. So Richmond Hill's at 2 months of inventory, and Markham is at 1.9 months of inventory. You're going to see prices, as long as months of inventory either continue to climb or stay where they are, you're going to continue to see prices trending down. Let's look at condos. This is for all York region. We sold 63 condos last week, up slightly from the previous week. 6 of those were at $1 million or more versus the previous week where only one was sold at $1 million or more. Average sold price came up just a little bit. It's now sitting at $770,000. November, December, condo prices going up. They've been, for the last, I guess, month and a half, kind of trending downwards. Compared to last year, however, condo prices, the $770,000 is 20% higher than what it was last year at this time. And median price is 23% higher than what it was a year ago. As far as year-to-date sales, we're 18% less sales this year than what we were selling last year. And 67% of all those sales of the 63 were sold at list price or more. Listings were 11% higher. It's not too many market segments here where listings are actually higher than last year. Condos, that's what's happening. We're 11% year to date, 11% more listings this year than last year. And months of inventory is sitting at 1.1 months of inventory. A quick summary, some are up, some are down, but generally speaking, as just summarizing, average sold price is slightly coming down. It's not dropping. Get the word crash out of your heads. It's not what I'm talking about. But it is what, I don't know, I'm comfortable saying softer. The market is softer now than it was before. There's a few more properties on the market. There's less offer nights. There's less offer nights actually working out. There's a little bit of time to see the property, think about it, let me go back. But some of these, you're going to miss out. Some of those, if you take your time, you're going to miss out. Some of these properties are still getting well over asking price and people are competing. So you really got to pick your battles there and again, be working with somebody who's able to read the situation and adjust and pivot strategy to accommodate what you're looking to do. Have an awesome day. We'll talk to you in a week.